You got something to talk about?
Something to talk about for sure. Yeah, that's something.
There's something you want to talk about.
I mean, I would love to talk
You got
about
me for 6 minutes, dog. So whatever it is.
Okay. Well, look, I'm only gonna take 30 seconds. Y'all see me in the group chat, but now I gotta tell the actual chat because y'all was talking that shit too. When I told you guys the Lakers are a bad matchup for the Nuggets. I sat here and I said this, and I gave you guys all my reasonings, and you guys said I was stupid.
This is insane,
you guys said, Ron, shut up. You guys said, Ron, you don't know what you're talking about. I told you guys.
Ron, you realize you haven't hit the group chat about a Pacers or Bucks win all year.
I can get my Halley back today too, because we on a 4-game winning streak. We on a 4-game winning streak.
We're not going to let Swiper derail the conversations about what about you don't talk about these teams.
So I'm talking to Ron about his behavior. This has nothing to do with basketball.
The conversation away from what he's talking about. He's talking about the Lakers right now. It doesn't matter. He doesn't know about the Pacers. Carry on, Ron.
I told y'all that the star power of Luka and LeBron would not be matched by one man by himself. I told you guys that the Lakers would be able to out-offense the Denver Nuggets. Little did I know they were going to out-defense them too. But that's neither here nor there. I told you guys that if Luka Doncic gets rolling with LeBron James, there's nothing Nikola Jokic can do. Oh, Ron, well, this, and how are they going to stop Jokic?
Do you want to get into what they did defensively that literally we haven't seen?
Let's discuss that.
Since we're talking about the basketball game.
Let's discuss that Swiper the genius said the Nuggets are just going to blitz the pick and roll. And all Luka can do is pass to Jared Vanderbilt. And the Nuggets are going to rotate behind the play, and they'll be fine.
No, well, they did not execute what they would do well. Yeah, that happened over the course of the game. But also, just to be clear, the Lakers shot 33% in the half court in the first half. The issue was sure. And then the issue was, again, we're talking about the hoops. They had 38 points in transition. The transition defense was awful. Like across the board, the Nuggets got outplayed 100% that game. There's no, they got outcoached, they got outplayed, they got out schemed like from the top to bottom. So there's no running from anything.
And the best player in the world got locked up.
I was about to ask you, has the code been cracked?
I'm telling you, they threw,
and this is what I mean. What I mean when I say has the code been cracked? I watched Minnesota rough your man up, be more physical with him, throw different bodies at him, and rough him up a little bit more. I think the Lakers did something really similar to that. Played more physical with him. Threw different bodies. They threw a 5-man defense at Joker that quite literally I cannot tell you that I have seen someone do. Even in the Wolves, like the Wolves series, they still played the Rudy Romoff with Cat or Nas or whatever, all that other stuff. The issue is that like when the Lakers they threw a defense at Joker where they basically said every single possession is a double or triple, and then on top of that, there's a foot in the paint on every other Laker. And in this instance, for whatever the reason, and again, Malone talked about this a little bit, the Nuggets just decided that they were not going to counter in any way whatsoever. Literally, they loaded up in the paint, and then on the perimeter outside of that, Russ, Brown, Aaron Gordon, they basically just said, we're going to fold all the way in into the defense, and that way there's not going to be any room for anybody to operate whatsoever. So it was horrible. They turned the ball over like madmen. They were taking, and Murray actually played well. Like that's the thing. Like Murray played well. Yes, he did.
But they just didn't and even the backline defense. To Marge's point, Christian Brown not paying attention off ball. Michael Porter not paying attention off ball. The corner, the sprint out, it was horrible. Rui Hachimura, I think at 21, I think he was like 8 of 15 from the field. I think he was like 4 or 9 from 3 in that game or whatever else it was.
Wide open shots too.
But Swiper, I see how you broke down what happened in the game. You know what I'm saying? Broke down what they did and this and that. Like I feel you. I understand that. But what I think what we're all curious about, Swiper, is what happens the next time y'all see them? Do y'all counteract that? Can y'all beat this team?
What is the counter?
That's what I'm curious about. You broke down the
obviously I'm not going to be able to explain it as well if Malone and them will, but I'll say this. I think that one of the things that you cannot allow is for your offense to be inverted. Like there's no reason for Porter to be sitting in the low man, and then you have Aaron Gordon, Russ, and Brown on the perimeter. Like that's a part of the first thing. The second thing is like if you're gonna try to run a stationary offense versus a team that's literally they're literally sitting and waiting on whatever Joker does. Like you have to get more off ball movement. I even think the way they would space out the court with empty side pick and rolls, like they didn't run any Spain to like do double drag to get multiple defenders up and then get rollers to the rim. I mean, there's just so many different things they didn't do. Literally, Luka and Reeves would be the main primary defenders on Joker. And I think in this instance, Joker also said, I think Joker was in the mindset where he was trying to figure out, like, okay, like who's going to get involved, who needs to do this. Now, because Joker had 5 shots through 3 quarters. Like he was trying to, based on what was happening in front of him, say, well, and the game was close too. So like they were like, all right, well, everybody else figure out like kind of how to work around this problem that we're having, cutters to the rim, the corner 3-point, all that other stuff. And again, the game was close, but on the defensive end, they were playing well, but then at points they weren't playing well. And then they remember they started the third quarter off with the 8-0 run. Then it was a 1-point game. And then immediately they gave up a 10-0 run to the Lakers just because their transition defense in particular was horrific. So just several different levels. They settled into an offense and they never actually responded to what the Lakers were doing defensively. Now, some of this is, I don't think number one, I can tell you, they did not expect the Lakers to come out and play that kind of a defense. There's just no way to predict that they would literally, in that instant, they would go away from basically doing anything they've done previously and say, we're going to play a level of defense where we're going to have a bunch of wings on the floor and we're going to hound Joker worse than the Mavs do when they double Joker off every single dribble or touch. You know, we're going to hound Joker in ways that even the Wolves don't with Rudy and them, because they literally would not let him get a shot off, and nobody, I think, around them responded in the way they needed to as well. But then also the defense was, like I said, it wasn't bad the whole time, but it was like they were just doing some of like the dumbest stuff I've ever seen. Now, ultimately, they just didn't respond.
Swiper, you keep saying like they were doing some of the dumbest stuff. Would that be attributed to what the Lakers were doing defensively? Because I thought that DF and I thought that Vando, I thought they did a really good job in keeping pressure on you guys on the perimeter. On top of that, we're living with Russ shooting the long ball, right? We're living with Russ. We're gonna live with Russ shooting the long ball. Not only are we gonna live with Russ shooting the long ball, them playing drop on Murray and him shooting the long ball. I had said before that I wasn't loving that because I didn't want him to shoot in the mid-range. They rather live with that than MPJ, because like you talked about MPJ being in the corner. Well, he was one of the guys who killed them in the past. So with them being more conscious of MPJ in the corner, which is where he was the most effective, and living with Murray, I think that helped. But the biggest thing was that the Lakers made shots at the long ball line. You left them dudes wide open. And that was largely due to the action that they ran. It wasn't a lot of standing around with the Lakers. Not only was it not a lot of standing around, they got out in transition. That was huge for them.
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at Prize Picks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With Prize Picks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections in every single stat line imaginable to make your Prize Picks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download Prize Picks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with Prize Picks. So what are you waiting for? Download Prize Picks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. Prize Picks. Run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy.
I think they took advantage of your transition defense, which was awful. I'm not going to say that they cracked the code defensively, but it looks to me, I'm not going to say that they cracked the code defensively, but it looks to me, which is ironic because Joker is not soft, but it looks to me like if you rough Joker up, you can slow him down.
Well, no, that's the level. Like what I've said repeatedly is, if you're a smaller team, which the Lakers are, if you start physical, you can end physical. And even if Bando and Rui and DFS get in foul trouble, the issue is they were so physical to start the game that Jokic, remember that first call Jokic got when he tried to do the swim on Bando, they called an offensive foul on Joker. And then by that point, Joker's like, all right, bet, we know what type of game it's going to be.
Right.
And then on the other end, what JJ did that literally nobody else has done, they picked up Joker full court the entire game off of any made basket or any made free throw. And it was Vando, it was DFS, and it was Rui. And they basically said, we're not going to allow for Joker to set on the other side of the court with ease. They were pushing Joker out to the 3-point line in order to get the ball, because what was happening if Joker was lower than the nail, then they would literally just front and then have help behind immediately. That way they couldn't do any easy entry passes. But what I'm saying is, like, the Nuggets also didn't counter by taking advantage of the fact that they had Reeves and had Luka on the court at all. This is what I'm telling you. They didn't do anything. They got out.
How do you take advantage of that?
Well, I think that's what I'm saying. That's gonna be up to them. Like, I think the issue is the way that the Lakers were playing in this game. They were trying to minimize impact on the offensive end as much as possible, because every single time the Lakers had a mismatch, what they would do is they would also, on the pick and roll, they would switch to pick and roll. And then they would have Joker, if Joker was at the nail or in the post, they would have immediate help already available. So even if you try to throw an entry pass in the Joker, he was seeing hands and a double. But then off the ball, the Nuggets were literally standing around. And the people that they wanted the ball to go to, which is Russ in particular and Brown, Russ started the game off. He was 3 of 10 from the field. He had a really good third quarter. But the problem is, like, they wanted the worst possible offensive options to get the ball, and the Nuggets lived with that, and Russ lived with that.
But
so I think,
where should Russ go?
Well, first off, Julian Strother, as I've mentioned before,
he 17 fouls in 6 seconds.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's the issue. Once Julian got in foul trouble, they could not go to any other lineup areas. Hunter Tyson came in the game, and obviously that was horrible. Like, it made the spacing even worse.
Swiper, also. Y'all missing a young boy from UCLA. What's his name?
Yeah, no, Peyton Watson. Yeah, he
makes
play,
a world of difference because he actually can defend. He can guard one of the Lakers' three big.
Well, I think
he's not an on-ball defender, but like,
well,
he's better than what they got.
He's good in their schemes, though.
No, he's a good on-ball defender. He's an elite off-ball defender.
He's a rim protecting wing. He's not an on-ball guy.
He's an on-ball guy.
Yeah, he's a good off-ball defender.
But wait a minute, though, Mark.
He's an elite off-ball defender.
But that's my issue with you, Mars. Like, when you say he's not an on-ball defender, what do you mean? Like, you mean an elite on-ball defender or is he a cone? Because I don't think he's a cone. No, I don't think that.
No, he's not. He's a good on-ball defender. He just is most known for being a weak side rim protector. He's a good on-ball defender.
But he's an on-ball defender.
He is. Mars just
everybody has to be an on-ball defender.
He's a capable defender, but you don't be like, oh, we got Peyton Watson, that solves the issue of what we're struggling
with. Well, respectfully to Mars, he's been an on-ball defender versus many wings in this league in 2 years and done very well in those matchups as an on-ball defender. His issue is he's also, well, not issue, the actual challenge of Peyton Watson is he's an elite off-ball wing protector, but he's still a positive on ball. So I don't even know where that's coming from. But I'm saying he's important in a matchup like that.
That doesn't make you an on-ball defender. Like,
I'm not going to keep arguing with you about it. He has played well as an on-ball defender versus multiple wings and guards for years. So I don't know what we're doing with this.
He's bad. I never said he's bad. I said
you just said he's not an on-ball defender, but like we have a record of him being a good on-ball defender.
You even said his role is a rim protecting wing.
No, that's not what I said. What I said, he's most known defensively for off-ball defense, but he's also a good on-ball defender. Is what you're discrediting.
Mars, the team.
We're just arguing semantics. Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're just arguing. You're wrong.
No, I'm actually correct.
Okay,
no, you're wrong because he's a good on-ball defender. You're disregarding him as on. You said he's not an on-ball defender. What would that imply?
I'm going to say word for word what I am saying, and if you disagree with it, then you are wrong. Peyton Watson's most valuable defensive.
No, that's not what the conversation was.
I'm telling
you're moving the conversation.
No, I'm telling you what I'm saying. You guys are telling me I'm wrong. I'm making it abundantly clear. Maybe I worded it wrong. Maybe I said the wrong thing at the time. Cool. When I said Peyton Watson is not an on-ball defender, this is what I mean. This is what was going through my head at the time I said it. Peyton Watson is his most valuable defensively away from the ball and as a rim protector, as a wing.
Right.
When you look at Peyton Watson as an on-ball defender, you are taking away where he's most valuable and putting him in a role where he's not as valuable. That does not mean he is a bad on-ball defender, but he, in terms of his functionality in his role, is not at his best as an on-ball defender. Hence, I don't view him as an
sure,
defender.
but Mars, sure,
on-ball defender,
right?
But again, Mars, what you said before you said any of that,
an on-ball defender.
sure, Mars, but hold on, chill. What you said before you alliterated any of that nonsense was that he's not an on-ball defender. So obviously, as someone who has watched every possession of Peyton Watson and knows all of the tracking numbers, he is a good on-ball. Okay, no, Mars, I'm just responding. I know, I'm just responding to you. No, because Mars, Mars, you don't get to do that, Mars. Mars, but if you say something that is not correct initially, again, that's cool, Mars. I'm still gonna finish. The issue is when you said he's not Mars. That's fine. But this is your turn. This is your turn to sit in the seat. When you say the first thing that I said was they are missing Peyton Watson because he has played versus Luka and Braun and done well. He is obviously not a primary. This is and this is the issue. Like just like Jamal Murray is an elite shooter. That's his best attribute, but he does other things that make him a good offensive player. Peyton Watson is an elite off-ball rim protector, but he's also a very good on-ball defender. Is he most known for that? No, but what does he do that helps the Denver Nuggets is being a good on-ball defender versus other wings. So yes, if the Nuggets have him in this matchup, then that's going to benefit the Nuggets as a whole because he's their best overall defender. That's issue, but that's not what you said. You said he's not an on-ball defender. No,
I agree. What I said, I understand why it was interpreted the way it was, because based on what I said, I understand people viewing what I said as, oh, you're saying he's a bad on-ball defender, which is why I went through me explaining what I was thinking when
after
I
the
said
fact. Yes, after the fact.
You after the fact, because we just had a 4-minute disagreement that wouldn't have happened if I didn't word it the way I did. So I understand why you said what you said and why Ron disagreed and why you disagreed, because what I said can easily and should have been, you are correct, interpreted as Peyton Watson is not a good on-ball defender. I understand why it was interpreted that way, which is why I then clarified what I meant when I said it, which is what I just did. And I'm going to say again, if you disagree with what I just said, the explanation of what I meant, then I think you are wrong. And I'm fine with you saying, based on what you heard, he's not an on-ball defender, why you had the disagreement you had. I'm then making it clear what I meant by saying that. So I'm going to ask the explanation I just gave. Do you disagree with the explanation I just laid out?
No, because I've said this before. I've already said this before. Yeah, so obviously I agree with you.
I disagree.
Okay, that's fine. So I want to clarify.
I heavily disagree.
What I said was interpreted in a way that was logical. You guys were correct to call me out on what I said because it was a bad way of phrasing what I said. But when I explained it, I was still correct.
You are correct, Mars. His best attribute is off the 100%, Mars.
I'm not going to say you guys misinterpreted it, because if someone says this guy is not a insert attribute shooter, not a on-ball defender, not an off-ball defender, that makes sense to interpret it as you're saying he's bad at that thing. So I understand why the disagreement happened. But when I clarify what I meant by it, respectfully, I don't need to hear why you interpreted it the way that you did.
Mars,
just clarify what I meant.
My thing is,
disagree with what I meant, or you disagree with the way I phrased it, which is fine. Two different things. I'm fine with you disagreeing with the way I phrased it, because I think I phrased it wrong.
It's not even the phrase. It's not the phrase, Mars. For me, that's not the issue.
But I just disagree. I just disagree.
Here's my thing. And we're talking about just against the Lakers. I sincerely believe they are going to use him as an on-ball defender, and I don't think they're not only going to. I think they have to in order to be competitive. When you have that, and so that's what I'm saying. So, but here's also the thing too: using him as an on-ball defender, that doesn't necessarily take away from his off-ball capabilities, because on defense you have to do both. So not only is he going to be asked to guard LeBron, Luka, or Reeves, but he's still going to have to help regardless. So,
I literally said that. Sorry.
And I don't. And to your point, Ron, I don't see teams seeking out Watson in action. I don't see teams putting him in action.
Because there's Jokic and MPJ out there and Jamal Murray. He's not the first choice to call out. Like, you have a clear liability in Jokic. You have another liability in Jamal Murray.
Sure.
Aaron Gordon has been bad on the ball since he's been back, by the way. I haven't liked that.
But he's not bad on the ball.
But in general, Aaron Gordon is a good on-ball defender.
Right.
He's probably your best.
That injuries made a difference in their defense.
And you've got MPJ, who's a bad defender. So Peyton Watson not being my biggest issue with Peyton Watson as an on-ball defender is his screen navigation. But like, when I talk about Peyton, like I already said what I meant.
Sure.
Peyton Watson is going to be an on-ball defender in the series against the Lakers because he's their second or third best option on the ball against Luka, Bron, and Reeves. But you're not going to get maximum value out of Peyton Watson in that role, which is why I don't like the Nuggets defense against the Lakers. And when we had that conversation, I think all of us were in agreement that the Nuggets can't defend the Lakers besides Swiper. Now, we disagreed with the outcome of the series, but I think all of us up here believe the Nuggets couldn't defend the Lakers. I don't think the Nuggets can defend anyone, if I'm being honest. But the Lakers in particular, I just don't think they can. So,
well, yeah, that's why I think if just getting into the basketball part of it, which is what I try to keep it at before the not a good defender comment, I think that some of this is the Nuggets, for whatever reason in that game, they did not match the intensity, the game plan. I've said this, and Lakers fans hate this, but JJ Redick said after the Portland game that they spent the moment they got done with the game, they started game planning specifically for this matchup because of how important it was for the Lakers to come out and win that game. And I think the Nuggets 100% underestimated how aggressive they were going to be on both of those ends in order to do that. But that's what they said. That's literally what was verbatim said. Jamal Murray said they didn't match the intensity. They got their butt kicked. Jokic said after the game they beat a bunch of bad teams, so maybe that tricked the Nuggets players into thinking they were good. So obviously, he also thinks that they got bummed out. They got outworked. But some of this is also too, bro. Like they're gonna have to make clear adjustments on the offensive end. Like you can't have it to where your best player is getting hounded and you don't do anything. Like you don't do anything.
Well, you did the same thing last year. Not last year. 2 years ago, you did the same thing when you saw Rui covering Joker, and that kind of caught you off guard. But then you adjusted to it. There was more action off the basketball. You was putting Joker in different spaces on the floor. You put him on the box. You put him at the nail. You put him in the mid post. You'd have him operating off the ball, getting the ball in the mid post, getting quick hits with action off of him. That wasn't going on. When I saw Saturday, I saw Rui roughing him up. I didn't see much. I didn't see many switches, but when I seen Rui covering him, primarily it was Rui roughing him up and somebody on the weak side close enough to where Joker couldn't operate without Joker couldn't operate without any room. So with that being said, primarily when you had Anthony Davis, they were relying solely on Anthony Davis to deal with Joker, and that's basically, putting.
But they didn't even give it an option, Chill. They never over the course of a game gave a one-on-one look to Joker at any point in time. Not one. And this is what I'm saying. They sold out to a degree that the Nuggets, they're going to have to make some, obviously they will make adjustments. Like obviously the series, they I think will go differently. But the issue is like Malone was watching Joker get the ball and everybody was like convalescing. They were literally submerging into their defense around him, and everybody was just like standing there watching it happen. And then Russ got way too many looks in that first half for me. Like I was just like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. No, heck, he had 7. He was 1 of 7, I think, in the second quarter. Like
I think that was part of the game plan to leave.
It was 100%. But that's the thing. The Nuggets, you can't be that reactionary. I think in the NBA, you have to always be able to respond. Reaction is like taking the first thing and going with it. I think responding to the intensity into the game plan, that's going to happen over the course of the next game that they play against. I think that they earned.
That doesn't scare you, Swiper? That doesn't scare you for the playoffs?
No, I think they earned it. I think the Lakers earned that win. I think they earned it from top to bottom.
I mean, of course they earned the win. That's not even up for discussion. You know what I'm saying? 100% they earned the win. I feel like that's irrelevant. I'm talking about you don't think it's concerning that this team got punched in the face and couldn't catch back up. Like
I don't think we as much as Spike was talking about that defense.
He just talked about how much they got out schemed. So I'm saying, is that something that can happen in the playoffs? Like,
and the reason
they responded. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I don't think Swiper is. I think he's disregarding how important Luka was in this game. I mean, as good as the scheme was, am I gonna get 30 out of Luka in a playoff series against Denver? If you're gonna get that, they're gonna be hard to beat. They're going to be really hard to beat.
You know what I'm talking about. This was my main point when we first started talking about it. We are talking about Luka Doncic.
That shot was crazy.
Like that was. Were you guys surprised by that?
No, I wasn't.
Well, for the first game that he played,
eventually he was going to get going.
Yeah,
again.
he was. Yeah,
at some point he was going to get going. We weren't going to see 14 or 15 a game.
Prospects was at more or less at 39.5. I took the less because I didn't think he was going to be able to get in his bag like that. But once Luka starts making those step back threes that are contested, it's like, all right, bro, like he's fully locked in. But also, too, I would say, Ron, this is the issue. He felt comfortable all game. He didn't have to work defensively at all the entire game. He played within the scheme that they provided, but he just never had to work on the other end. And I think they protected him with the maximum amount of effort. And then on the other end, they were just absolutely like
Swiper. Who do you have that's gonna make him work like that though?
Well, I mean, that's what the scheme Nuggets have. Yeah, the Nuggets have always made Luka work. I think that's the issue.
Well, I get that when it's but I'm saying on this team, how do you make Luka work?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
how do you attack him?
What you can't do is allow for Luka to sit as a low man or whatever, and then like on the other end, like because even like Murray has cooked him before. He's had to guard Porter off ball. Porter's made him work. Jokic has obviously made him work. Brown has attacked him in space before. Like it's you can do it. But what JJ did that was so brilliant is that even when you switched, it was never a one-on-one switch. It was at least 3 men on Jokic at all times. That way there was never a one-on-one. Because, Jokic, he gets the ball. He wants to turn baseline shoulder and finish up ahead. Well, now if you turn baseline shoulder, LeBron's there, Reeve is there, Rui's there, DFS is there. And then when Jokic got the ball at the nail, again, they set the tone so perfectly to start the game. Because now when Joker's at the nail, Rui's been pushing him off the nail the entire time. And then DFS does. And y'all remember Murray and Jokic got a switch. DFS is right there. And Murray tried to do an entry pass to Jokic at the nail. And he literally went over the top of the ball and then blocked it out. They got a transition opportunity. Like, it's the aggression that they played with, I think, separated them over the course of the game.
Enjoy, wait,